Hello, everybody. I am sending this out to the peoples on the Twitter, and now I'm going to post it on the Flick so that people know. How's everyone doing today? I'm still not feeling great, but I don't want to miss 2 days in a row, so this might be a little shorter, but I am going to at least get something. All right. And now I just need someone to post the link there because God knows I cannot do that on mobile when I'm doing this. And then it is going to be time to get into it. If anybody has any questions, hit me up. All right. Excuse me. All right, let's get this ready and going. So what I'm going to do is basically stall for the time being until I start getting questions. Oh, stupid cowlick. Thing never goes down. That's why I wear a hat. There we go. So what I'm going to do is go over the early slate until I start getting questions, and then I will start answering questions until like, I don't know, maybe 12:45 or so. And then that's probably going to be as much as I'll be able to talk without getting nauseous. So first game is the Royals and the Rays. This one is very, very easy. Play all of the Rays and none of the Royals. Blake Snell is the best pitcher pitching today, not just on this slate. And Jakob Junis or Jacob Junis or Jacob Junis. I should really learn how some of these people are pronounced now that I'm talking instead of just typing. He is way overpriced and he gives up a lot of home runs and he's not that good. And I will take this Tampa Bay lineup. They've shown, even without Meadows, that they are potent. And while I was a little skeptical of them with what I thought was going to be Wendell leading off, with Lau leading off, it's looked, they really haven't missed a step. So, big fan of Tampa Bay on both sides, not a big fan of Kansas City. Next game is Miami and Cleveland. I really like Jeffrey Rodriguez. I don't think that he's gonna get you a complete game shutout or anything by any stretch. But I do think that 6,600 for someone that we can pencil in for 13, 14, 15 points on a slate like today, when that'll give us the ability to fit in a bunch of other people, is really, really tempting. And I really like that a lot. So especially against this Miami team that is by far the worst team offensively in baseball. It's not even close. I mean, the fact that John Beardy is batting ninth, and it's bad. It's really bad if you're a Marlins fan, and it's really good if you are a sharp DFS player, because we're going to be able to take advantage of a lot of these things that the stats reveal, such as the Ruthian levels that Baltimore's pitching staff is worse than everybody else, and the Ruthian levels that Miami's hitting prowess is worse than everybody else's. It's pretty absolutely ridiculous. I wish I could learn, one of the things I need to learn how to do is how to share what I'm doing. Although honestly, all I'm doing right now is looking at the lineups page, the Bathrobe Sports lineups page, to show me all the splits, and I have the prices and the projected lineups for everything in the early slate. So I can go there and see, how much everybody is, and then their splits, which for me is huge. I know how they've been playing. So while I'd like to add the stats back at some point. As of right now, I'm going with the smaller and streamlined version that just has the splits and not the stats. But regardless, you can see that Rodriguez is way too cheap. If you want to take a couple Marlins bats, good luck to you. It's a small slate, but I thank you. Thank you as always, Fat Star. I appreciate it. I really do. Take Marlins bats at your own risk. I wouldn't do it. And then Cleveland, I do like a lot. I don't know if I trust these bats to start going off, especially on a slate where we have a couple of other options that look absolutely out of this world for a lot cheaper or similarly priced with a higher output. So while I like Cleveland, I would reserve them for taking a shot in an MME if you want to do that. I don't think that they're someone that you should prioritize if you're doing one lineup. I don't think that while they're good, I don't think that they are that good considering some of the other places we can look today. Excuse me. Oh, this is going to be tough. Oh, my stomach's already starting to get really bad. I'm sorry, guys. I have a chronic stomach problem, and I have to avoid onions. And if I avoid onions, then I'm normally fine. After they took the gallbladder out, it's been, just like anyone with something like this, it's been hit or miss, and there are really good days and really bad days. But I haven't had those like 3-4 week long stretches where the pain doesn't go away like I did before they took the gallbladder out. So if you have that kind of problem, I do suggest getting like one of the new radioactive tests, because they found that my gallbladder was functioning at less than 1%, and they normally want to take it out if it's less than like 20. So I've been suffering through that pretty much my entire life, and they had never been able to do that kind of testing before. So that was great. But I still have the really bad days if I get anything with onions, and it's tough to go out and eat, and I trusted them, and they obviously had onions because it's been a bad couple days. But I digress. Let's get back to baseball, and I will do my best to talk in a way that doesn't make me as nauseous. So the lineups came out for Milwaukee and St. Louis, right? It makes me like Milwaukee. I don't want to say more because Yelich is out of the lineup, but I love the fact that Eric Thames and Shaw and Ben Gamel are in this lineup, because they are going to put an absolute hurting on Wainwright, and I am really looking forward to watching them do that. I wish Yelich was playing. I will get to that in a second. Joker, that is a very good question. I still hate Wainwright, but I definitely love, getting the Thames, Grandal, Shaw, Gamel, 2, 3, 4, 6 here. If you're playing like a 4-3-1 today, or whatever you're doing, I don't know if I want to go up to 5 here, although you can, take a chance on a Kane, but he's a little high priced. You can go to an Arcia who's cheap enough. You could fit in some other bats. But I like the 4 bats on Milwaukee. I would use them for a 4 stack here. But I really love them there. And then on the Cardinals, so the Cardinals lineup came out, and they are resting Dexter Fowler, and in his place they are starting Lane Thomas, who is a right-hander. And if you read my article, the analysis, I talked about this time and the last time I wrote about him, how Jhoulys Chacín is an extreme normal splits pitcher. There are times when I say that, though. For example, when I was going over, when I did this, it took me 26 hours to go over all of the splits. I went over 2-3 different sources on some of them, depending on if the numbers agreed. I went into regular and advanced stats over the last few years, and then over the career to see if there was any sort of difference. And then I weighed if it was because of a different approach. Like I went absolutely nuts in my research for the splits part here. And there are some people that have extreme splits, but they're still functional against both. Extreme splits doesn't mean that you are absolutely unable. It just means that you are significantly better, excuse me, against one or the other. There are some pitchers, though, and I believe I'm going to, around the All-Star break, I'm going to do a second run through of these, and I'm going to include some extra designations, and I'm going to, see if any of the rookies went over my threshold for sample size, where I can make any sort of delineation on them. So people like Elaine Thomas, what we don't know now if he keeps getting at bats by the All-Star break, maybe we'll know if he's a reverse splits guy, at which point he wouldn't be as bad today. But we don't know that. What we do know is that if I had a designation for someone that is even more extreme than extreme, Chacín would be it. He is someone that is very good at getting same-handed same-handed batters out, and really bad at getting the opposite ones out. So we've seen over the course of his career, and I've been following this about as close as anything for the last, I can't even tell you, for as long as I can remember. Chacín is one of those guys who, if he's going against a right-handed heavy lineup, you can 100% take a chance on him. It's never going to be a safe play. You're never going to feel great, but he's not 9,000. He's 6,800. And 6,800 for a dude going against eight right-handers. No, 7 right-handers with Adam Wainwright, not counting. That's great. I will take him being able to work around Carpenter and Wong if he needs to, and doing well enough with his slider and everything else to get the rest of the order. So 6,800 for him. I think I would still rather take Jeffrey Rodriguez because he's 200 cheaper going against a much worse lineup. But if you want to, I think Rodriguez would be significantly higher owned than Chacín, who I don't think anyone is going to play today. So if you want to be a little sneakier GPP wise, I think Chacín is a fantastic play. And then we have the Cardinals, and then we have Wainwright, excuse me. I already talked about him. So that is that. We'll move on to Washington and Colorado. And we still just have the one question for Joker, so I'll get to that as well really soon after I go over these. So we have Colorado, Washington, and this is easy. Stack what you can. I went over how it's incredibly important to look at how a pitcher performs in Coors Field. So make sure that you are digging that deep or reading someone that does, like me, because it's imperative to know how someone does, because different pitchers react different ways, because different pitches react different ways to the elevation there. So what we've seen is there are some pitchers on the Rockies staff that Coors Field doesn't have any effect on them. They don't have any sort of significant road home splits, even though they've had a significant amount of innings that, that kind of thing would show itself. What we've seen from Marquez is that he does show significant home road splits. He is significantly worse at home, giving up all sorts of hits and everything else that you can imagine. So what we have here is a Washington lineup that, apart from Rendon, is underpriced for being in Coors Field, because the way DK prices it, the fact that Marquez is 9,000 means that the Washington bats are going to be slightly cheaper. And we're seeing that now with these guys being way too cheap again. So, Robles should always be over 5,000. Soto should always be over 5,000. Eaton should be 5,000 plus. in this matchup, and none of them are 47, 49, and 45 for Eaton, Soto, and Robles. So I think that that's a great way of attacking, although I expect them to be exceptionally popular as well because of their price point and the fact that people, when there's a Coors Field Day, and obviously I can't speak for this year because every year's different, but the last 4 or 5 years, Coors Field Days mean people try to shove in however many people they can from Coors Field games, which means that you're going to see a lot of the cheaper people from Washington in those positions because people just filter it so that they're only looking at Washington, Colorado batters, and then pick the cheapest one so they can fit everybody in. Okay, still no questions there. And then Anibal Sanchez is probably the worst pitcher playing on this early slate. So going against Colorado is hello. I'll take that all day. It is worth noting that he is a reverse splits guy, so it's sneakier to take like an Arenado and a Story because most people always assume normal splits and they will focus primarily on Blackmon and Dahl. Even though Dahl is my home run call of the day, I do feel like Dahl is going to do really well, and Anibal Sanchez, it's not going to really matter that much. And then I'm going to quickly do Texas Oakland. Aaron Brooks is a good GPP play. I don't mind him. He's cheap enough. I think that other people that are as cheap are in better spots, and I would prioritize them. And then Texas is a mess. This is going to be a bad game for them. They don't have a good bullpen. So while I stay away from bullpen games and I will not have as high Oakland ownership as most people, given all of the circumstances, I still have to have some. I am doing 20 lineups based on the projections that Kyle has done. So I am going to make absolutely sure that, I'm spread around to see how everyone reacts. And looking at those already, there's a decent amount of Oakland, not as much as, Colorado, but a decent amount of Oakland in there. So I'm certainly going to have exposure. San Diego, Seattle. Paddock is a little too expensive, but he's probably the second best pitcher on the slate. So you can go with him, and I wouldn't go with the Seattle Bats. And then King Felix has been dethroned. Really, he's just not what he was. So I'm going to have more San Diego Bats than I would have King Felix. I can understand taking a chance that he'll have one of his good games because he is hit or miss like that, and he's 7,100. But at the same time, I have no faith that he will be able to do anything. And this is a lot tougher San Diego team than people give credit for. And then the last game on this early slate before I move solely into the Q&A section. And Giants and Blue Jays. The two pitchers here are awful. So this is all about getting the stacks in. And if you look at, the Giants are a terrible offense. And I talked yesterday when I was talking about Thornton and I put him in the great spots slot that the Giants were one of two teams to be averaging under 3 runs scored a game. And if you look at all of the other advanced stats in terms of extra base hits and power and everything else, the Giants are right at the bottom, not at the bottom because the Marlins exist, but right near the bottom. So anytime you have a pitcher going against them, they get a boost, but not when that pitcher is Clay Buchholz because he is awful. And and I said this before as well, if Anibal Sanchez isn't the worst pitcher on this slate, then then Clay Buchholz is the worst pitcher on this slate. So I think that given the fact that as of right now, the most expensive Giant I have is priced $3,800, Kevin Pillar batting, you can get a significant amount of Giants bats here. If you want to do like a Snell Paddock, you could do a Giant stack and still have enough to to get some good bats in there. And then Toronto, again, Pomerantz is terrible. They are going to have a great lineup. I know Hansen and Smoke are better as lefties, so that's a little tougher. But, I'll take Galvis and Grichuk and Hernandez, and Drury's been hot, and Jansen. Give me all those guys. All right, I'm going to take a sip of this caffeine-free soda again, and then question time. All right. So I have one question on queue here, and that is from Joker. Is stacking necessary in smaller MLB games, cash multiplier, or can you pick batters from all over? I don't think there is an exception to stacking, period. I've talked about this before. When you go home run hunting, you are just hoping that a whole bunch, like 8 people, don't have floor games. And it's certainly possible. I've seen it where people picked 8 of the chalkiest home run hitters on the day, and all of them put up zeros. Happens all the time. What you want to do is maximize the amount of points you get. And there are enough people that home run hunt that just by stacking, which is prevalent, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stacking, obviously. But home run hunting and not stacking enough is prevalent enough that just by stacking you and everything else, when you have a dude that gets a double, that's good. If you have nobody around him, then maybe you'll get another 2 points out of it, right? But if you have the guy that's up next and he gets a single, that is an extra 2 points that he gets, and then the 2 points that guy gets for scoring. And then if he steals a base, that's +5. Let's say it's someone that can do that. A Will Myers. There's plenty of people that can hit a single and steal a base right off the bat. That's another +5. And then the next guy hits a single. You get another 2 points from the guy that just stole the base, and then an extra 2 points for the guy that just hit the single. What you have is a consistent and constant additive effect that you can take advantage of by stacking. When you have teams score runs, generally, although with some teams it's a high percentage, generally, generally scoring comes in bursts. And what a stack does is it takes advantage of those bursts. So if you have the 1 through 5 and every single one of those people gets a hit, you are going to get a lot of points. And that's just one time through the lineup. If this is a lineup that winds up scoring, 9 runs on the day, then you are going to make some money if you have, the right pitchers and another stack or a couple other good batters that go well. But I don't think there's any exception to the stacking rule. I think that stacking, because of the way the math works, is almost a necessity, especially if you are trying to minimize risk. If you want to, there are people who have no rules when they do GPP, and that's fine. I don't mind that. I don't ascribe to that philosophy myself, but that's fine. GPPs are meant to do crazy stuff and try to win. You're not trying to do what the field does. You're trying to do something that is a little bit different enough that you can win. So I can understand that philosophy, but if you're looking to minimize risk alongside trying to win, then stacking is 110% the way to go. I don't think there's any other way around it. Again, you want to take advantage of that additive effect because it's more frequent that a bad pitcher just gives up a bunch of points to people, or that they take advantage of a bad bullpen, than it is that you can pick 8 people that hit 2 home runs. And let's see, right now we have the San Diego lineup that's come out. Let's see if there's anything different. It's Tatis, Myers, not Margot. Oh, I like Margot in the 2. Myers, Machado, Reyes, Franmil Reyes, Hosmer, Renfroe is getting the start, and then Kinsler, and then Mejia is getting the start over Hedges. So no Margot, and then instead of Margot, we're going to get some Renfroe, which is better for King Felix because Margot can hit anybody. He's slight normal splits, but Renfroe is somebody who hits lefties real good, not righties real good. So that's going to be a slight advantage. Oh, and now we get the Washington lineup. This is good because I was just going to end this. Washington is going Eaton, Robles. That's what I was wanting. Eaton, Robles, Soto. No, that's not. Oh, that's not what I was saying. Okay, someone just sent me a message. That is not what I had said. I must have written something wrong. Okay. I have no idea who the fuck that is. What the fuck? Okay. So Washington, I know a lot about baseball. I follow minor league baseball. I am all about following baseball at every level. As of right now, there is someone who I've never seen before. I have no idea who that is. Noll, Noll for Washington. So I have to open up Firefox here. Where is my Firefox? That is cool. Oh, it broke. That's what happened. That's not good. Did I lose all my tabs? If I lost all my tabs on Firefox, I'm going to be very upset. Yeah, Firefox has crashed. That's where I have all my MLB stuff. Oh no. Okay, let's find it over here. What is it that I use? Okay, there we go. Oh, and Texas just came out too. That's good. Okay. Jake Noll. Jake Noll is playing third base for the Washington Nationals on DraftKings for $2,100 in Coors Field. I don't know if people are going to change their lineups quick enough to take advantage of that. But holy shit. Someone is $2,100 at Coors Field. Wow, that is going to be bad. That is absolutely insane. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Like they normally set a floor at Coors Field for like 3,000. It's incredibly rare that someone is under 3,000 at Coors Field. Like even the backup catchers are capped at 3,000. So for someone to be 2,100 is like that's nuts. You're going to have to take advantage of that. That's probably going to be my highest owned player on this slate now. And then the Colorado lineup came in. Blackman, Story, Murphy is back. Hooray, Danny Murphy. That's a good hitter. 4,000 too. Ooh, there are some prices today. Ooh, Nelly, Arenado, Dahl, McMahon, Tapia, and Walters. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lefties against Sanchez, who again is a slight reverse splits pitcher, which means that he is better against lefties than righties. So again, we see a team fail to recognize the significance of splits. We see it all the time, and it's a shame because they would be doing much better. And let's see. Any more questions that anyone has? Nope. Oh, Texas's lineup just came out. Let's check that. Let's see if there's anything I want to note for y'all before I stop. Chu, Santana, Gallo, Mazzara, Cabrera, Forsyth, Wisdom, Mathis, DeShields. So Mathis is starting. He's 2,400 on DraftKings. So if you need two really cheap punts, you got Knoll and Mathis now, because 2,400 is, you get a couple hits from him or a double, and you're like, damn, I nailed it. If you get anything more than that, imagine it's a home run. That would be fantastic. And that's happened to me plenty of times, where you just punt on the cheapest catcher because you need to fit other dudes in. And hello. Okay, so that is fantastic. Is there anything else that's come out? Nope. Everything else is I've covered. Are there any other questions? There do not appear to be any other questions. There's only 3 people watching. I don't think I've got over 4 people watching this time, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure that other places are doing videos and people are watching those instead. So thank you to the folks that stuck with me to do this. I'll let you go, I guess, watch them instead at this point. I'll wait a second in case anybody has any other questions or another lineup comes out. Otherwise, I am going to go take some more medicine, try not to be nauseous. All right. Love you all. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day, and I will catch y'all tomorrow.